My wife is convinced she's pregnant, but every pregnancy test comes back negative.
Pregnancy tests.
True. Got to think more positive, you know? So this is all over the place. I really need help. My wife and I, male 24, have been married for 2 years and together for 15. A long relationship. All this time we had either not decided to have kids or had problems getting pregnant. After some medical testing, we found out that it was near impossible to get pregnant due to some medical issues with her. We were thinking of adopting when one day she came home and told me that she was expecting. Of course, I was super happy. By the way, this comes from It's a Throwaway from BRU Updates subreddit. So a week later, we had an appointment at the gynecologist and she had some blood drawn. The test came back negative, and of course, I was devastated, but she wasn't. She claimed that she was pregnant and that the doctor was just wrong.
I mean, sometimes you just get that feeling in your bones, right? Like, it's like no one can tell you, like, I know I'm pregnant, even though I'm medically unable to be pregnant almost.
So we took some store-bought ones and they all came back negative as well. My wife is in complete denial. Now she claims we're having twins. She's buying them clothes, decorations, and is pressuring me to start with the nursery. I am at a loss and I don't know what to do. My inaction is making her believe that I want to leave them and that I am going to doom my wife into the life of a single mom. What the F is even happening? I love her, but I don't know what to do. Edit. Forgot to add, I have tried talking her into therapy, but she accuses me of gaslighting her. Little update / edit. Thank you guys. You really helped me out. Yesterday was a bad day and you all helped me get clarity. I had a chat with our doctor who will now be handling this with us. I would like to thank most of you with useful advice, and hopefully I will be able to update good news someday. But an FU to those who said I should divorce her because she is crazy, and an extra FU to the guy that used this post to push his anti-baby termination agenda. Comments from deleted. Call the doctor who did the pregnancy test and leave a message with the emergency number. They will be able to tell you who to contact. She's obviously had some sort of mental break. Just an FYI, at 19 weeks, you would have had ultrasound pictures and gender determination, and she would have had several OGBYN visits. Is she doing practical things like taking prenatal vitamins and reading books, or is it all just delusions and talk? Just wondering how far she is. Opie says, I know. Also, she isn't showing at all. She is thin as always. Yes, she says she can't lift heavy things. Says she has pregnancy cravings. She buys clothes for the twins. She's even planning to take paid time off from work for when the babies are here. Another comment from deleted. This is really frightening. Like these stories of people taking babies from a pregnant woman. You need to get her help ASAP. Was she all of a sudden at 19 weeks, or has this been going on a while? Have you seen her have her period in this time so you can point out the obvious? Opie says she claimed she was pregnant about a few weeks ago, but as of Friday, she says she entered her 19th week. I really don't know what brought her to think that. We have an update 7 days later where I think we're going to get the answer of if she comes to terms with it or not. I called our primary doctor and told him about the problem. He seemed very concerned and wanted us to come see him the next morning. He said it was important to be gentle, but not to feed into her delusions. I sat her down and we talked. All she wanted to talk about is when I would get the nursery started and that we were on a time crunch, and how she had found the perfect color for the room. How she wants me to be more involved in her pregnancy, and I tried to calm her down, but I was very perturbed by seeing her that way. I asked her to go to the doctor with me tomorrow. She said yes, that she wanted to check on the babies either way. Now I took some advice and words you gave me about being calm and asking a bit about why she thinks she is pregnant without calling her delusional. So I did. She kept changing subjects or saying, a mother just feels it. You wouldn't know how it is. Then I said how I loved her a lot and that I would never think of leaving her, but we needed to go to a doctor to confirm her gut feeling. She got very agitated and was crying, telling me that if I wanted to leave her, I should simply leave, but I shouldn't call her a liar. So somehow I managed to calm her down enough for her to go to sleep. After she did, I went on her computer. I do never snoop on her, but I remembered a commenter pointing out forums about cryptic pregnancy, and so I went to look. Oh boy, she was in 2 Facebook groups. When you're in the Facebook group, that's when everything goes downhill.
That's when you really get pregnant.
One was a normal mommy Facebook group, and the other was a group about women that believed they were pregnant. In the normal group, she would post updates about her symptoms and pictures of her belly and her story about how she was almost not able to have children, but that's to the grace of God that kissed her tummy. The gift of life that was given to her, and how she was compensated for all these years of suffering with twins. In the other group, the women were quite literally, and excuse me here, effing insane. They were feeding in each other's delusions. A woman said that she was almost 2 years pregnant and how sometimes it just takes longer. My wife would post there complaining about doctors that do not take her seriously and about me. So many women were making her fear that I would leave, saying things like a man cannot stick to a woman. Many recounted their stories about how their marriages broke down because their spouses could not handle the pregnancy. I was really effing scared. I researched phantom pregnancies, and I read somewhere that they could also be a sign of schizophrenia. So to say the least, I could not sleep. I was and am still very afraid of losing her. She woke up and I tried to act like nothing was wrong. We were going to the doctor, and it was as if nothing had happened yesterday. She was convinced that we were going to a pregnancy checkup. Things had gotten really bad when we began talking to the doctor. He was really tactful when talking to my wife. He tried to explain to her that it was medically impossible that she was pregnant. Can't imagine this is going to go over well. He tried to show her the tests, the ultrasound that we did the day before, but nothing. She just got more agitated and began to cry and to scream at me for making her look like a crazy person. She began bouncing back and forth with her head in both hands. We could not calm her, and she went into a full-on panic attack. She could not breathe. The doctor laid her down and tried giving her some medicine for her to relax, but it did not help, and he didn't have the necessary tools to treat a panic attack that was that bad. She had to go to the hospital where they took care of her. They did an EKG to exclude that she was suffering from a heart attack. At that point, I had no other option than to inquire about involuntary. I could not do it myself. I needed my doctor's statement that she was a danger to herself and others, and he had to initiate the process of an involuntary examination of 72 hours. After that, we will have to submit a written statement to the court to determine whether or not she can stay there against her will. So far, I have submitted all her posts in both Facebook group as well as the test we did with the timestamps when possible. My wife is in the second day of the 3-day examination, and I have no contact with her. When I was last with her, she was furious at me. She said I was taking away her freedom, which I am. I feel horrible, dirty, and useless. She is so mad at me, and I feel like I'm abandoning her, and I don't know how she will ever forgive this. I love her with all my heart. I am afraid of what will happen if the courts decide that I can't commit her, how our life will be affected. I feel like I failed to protect her. At this point, I'm just rambling. Sorry for the long post. I guess I just needed to vent because I have no one else to really turn to that wants to listen. I feel judged by everyone and pitied. I just hate it. Sorry for the spelling mistakes. Quick edit. I will not effing leave my wife, you unempathetic wienerheads. When I gave my vows, I meant through illness and bad times. I am not only here on the ride for just the good times. If you truly love someone, you will do whatever it takes to see them healthy again. Would you leave your spouse if they went through a severe physical illness? I'm here to stay. I will not divorce her. She is not an effing psycho. She is sick. I hope none of your loved ones ever have to go through this because their support net will consist of cowardly wienerheads. Sorry for the rant, but if you want to say something like divorce, then don't even bother. I don't understand people that make the choice to leave when the situation begins to be a mess with their mental health. And I respect that, but I won't do it. Edit number 2, my wife didn't have a heart attack. She was examined because her panic attacks register with similar symptoms as heart attacks. I don't exactly know what our doctor gave her as I was so distraught, but it was not a sedative. I thought it was something along the lines of Valium or Baldrian, over-the-counter stuff mostly. She has family. She is estranged from most of them. Her sister is now at our place to help. Also refrain from such stupid comments like, I bet she'll leave you, bro. She's cray-cray. How did you marry her? Because they're not helpful at all. Especially the bets that are going on that my wife will leave me once she gets better. Just seems like you want me to divorce. Get a life. I'm going to get right into these relevant comments. Oh, so from deleted, I used to work into the involuntary commit system. Everyone is upset with their loved ones when they get committed. Everyone. And it's a normal thing for family members and partners to feel a ton of guilt. But your wife needs help. You took the steps to get her help, even though it was scary. You will not regret this. Hoping 1357911 says, I had to involuntarily commit my husband. He had PTSD, and I got a phone call at work 40 minutes away in a different county that he loved me and that I shouldn't feel bad. I had to call 911 bawling my eyes out knowing he was having a bad week, and then call the emergency line for the county that he was in. They just connect you to the nearest one. When the police broke the door down, he was in the bathroom. He was so mad at me. He hated me. He wanted a divorce. He never wanted to see me again. And to be honest, I was pretty angry too, not because of the mental illness, because I felt so helpless. I want to say after a week of adjusting meds, he called apologizing. He told me how thankful he was that I called. He was thankful that I didn't budge on him being committed. And he was thankful that someone who knew him well enough to know that he wasn't manipulating me. He had been pushing me away, which is a sign of self-harm, and he said he had been fighting it a lot because of it. You've definitely done the right thing for her well-being, no matter how angry he is. She will see it one day. And we do have an update 8 months later. Basically, this is the ultimate conclusion here. Hey guys, it's me again. We've had a lot more time on my hands, so I thought, why not update the community that helped me, even if it was just to let me know that I could vent. I don't even know how much time has passed, but I am very happy to say that things are working out. I have my wife's permission to share this with you all, and she is even telling me to greet you. After being in the 72-hour stay, it was determined that she had to stay there. My wife was pissed for the first few weeks. It was a devastating time. But the time in therapy heals all wounds. Slowly, I was allowed to come visit. And every day I went, I saw a bit more of the person I love. There were setbacks along the way, and I had to watch a lot of what I said and what I did. For example, the first few weeks they were there, she wouldn't tolerate touch or something like that. Our trust had to be regained slowly from both parts. We had put in so much work, and even now that she's back home and has been for a while, we sometimes have bad days where it's difficult for my wife to get out of bed, or where I'm suspicious of her getting back into that state. But at the end of the day, I'm happy. We go to counseling, and we are on individual therapy as well, especially due to the stress. I developed some form of anxiety myself, but every day it's a bit better. I've discovered new sites for my wife, like the new hobby that she has of making resin jewelry and decorations. Even our quarantine time has been quite peaceful. We still have remote therapy and everything. Things are not normal yet, and adoption is not back on the table as of now. We have given ourselves at least a year of therapy before we think about parenting and raising a child. One thing is for certain, I still love my wife very much. Our relationship might not be better than ever, but it is sure as heck stronger than ever. Also, she has done a lot of self-reflection and of course has thanked me for how I handled things. She is lovely and we are happy.
Amazing.
Am I the asshole for getting my coworker fired after she kept trying to prove my service dog is fake? I have a medical alert service dog named Max who helps with a serious heart condition. He literally saved my life multiple times by alerting before I pass out. I started a new office job 3 months ago and everything was fine until, let's call her Karen, started her crusade against Max. If you're curious, here is what Max looks like, not his exact photo. It started small. She'd loudly announce pets aren't allowed in the office every time she saw us. And I explained repeatedly that Max is a service dog, not a pet, and showed her his documentation. She then started telling everyone I was obviously faking because I looked too young to be disabled. Things escalated fast. She'd try to test Max by dropping food near him. He's trained to ignore it. She reported me to HR weekly, but the worst part, she started purposely wearing strong perfume and spraying air freshener around my desk, which triggers my condition. Max alerted 3 times in one day because of this. The final straw, I found out she was taking photos of me and Max, posting them in a Facebook group about fake service dogs, and asking for ways to expose me. She included my full name and workplace. I took screenshots and went to HR. They fired her on the spot for harassment and creating a hostile work environment. Now my inbox is flooded with messages from family and friends saying I'm the asshole for getting a mother of 3 fired over a dog, and that I should have just worked from home if I'm so sick. Here's the thing. I actually feel horrible that she lost her job. Her kids aren't at fault here, but she literally put my life at risk with perfume stunts, and doxing me online was scary. Am I the asshole?